Hello and welcome back to the Catch-Up. It's been a couple of weeks, but we're back. We're ready to go. And I've got a very exciting guest today, someone who I've crossed paths with a number of times with different content and obviously the connection to Rugby League Guru as well. But we always have a good chat. He's one of the funniest men in the room, in every room that he walks into. Hammy, welcome.
Good to be with you, Kat. I'm the only man in the room today, so by default, I'll have to be. Good to be with you, and you've recovered from Magic Round?
I have. I think, post Magic Round, we had our catch up with the Dolphins, which came out, which I hope everyone enjoyed.
Very good. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you very much. And then I had to take a bit of a week off because I was just so sick. I did Magic Round and then I had another trip to Melbourne and then I was absolutely KO after that. Yeah, but you were sick too.
Yeah, it's not all beer and Skittles in the content game, is it? When you've got stuff on and you need to be somewhere, you can kind of just push yourself through on the adrenaline and stuff. But as soon as like the work's done, if you're feeling a bit sick, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. And I was exactly the same after Magic Round, wiped me out.
And you were somehow able to fit in, 3 or 4 flights into Magic Round?
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. So I went up on the Thursday, and Thursday night we had the Women's Origin, and we shot a piece with Denon. And then I had to go back to Sydney on Friday for my partner's graduation. And then I was back up to Magic Round on Saturday until the end. And then 6 a.m. flight on the Monday to Sydney, straight to Bloke. Didn't even go home, went back to the airport. And then I had a cricket shoot in Melbourne. It was crazy, but we got through.
Oh, my goodness. You mentioned cricket shoot. How much of your time is spent between rugby league and cricket?
Well, probably it's getting more and more rugby league these days, especially with like all the bloke stuff happening, and obviously as we're in footy season. But cricket is a big part of I love my cricket, so try to squeeze in as much of that as I can, and we do a lot of kind of like cricket content with our little fictional cricket team, the Grubs, and it's because we've got the Cricket World Cup in America at the moment. We actually shot a skit on a baseball field in Melbourne, like explaining cricket to Americans.
Oh, that's cool. I love that.
So that'll be out a little bit later this week. So, probably I'd say about 50-50. There was a time definitely where it skewed more cricket, but it's probably evened up a bit more now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure as a Tigers fan, you're absolutely stoked to be talking a bit more about footy. Or does that make it more difficult?
It's a little bit, a little bit more it's an interesting question. Because we're talking more like broader footy, I'm probably not focusing my energy as much in on the Tigers. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's sort of therapeutic to be just talking about the game at large rather than just concentrating on my team, who are not very good.
I completely agree with that because I think I've been a footy fan for many, many years, but this is the first season where I'm working consistently in it and I'm talking about it every week. And it's been a very interesting experience being at the bottom of the table as well.
Yep. Welcome.
Welcome, exactly. I'm talking to someone who understands. But I couldn't have picked a more interesting season to enter talking about league on a public forum because, it has been difficult, but at the same time, I think to your point, talking more broadly about it makes it a bit more of an enjoyable experience because if I was just talking about South Sydney every week, it'd be a bit of a struggle. Yeah,
that's right. It certainly is. And it's about to get a lot worse for you as well with obviously State of Origin kicking off this week. So...
yeah.
Go Queensland, obviously.
Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Up the Blues. Up the Blues, and we're both going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very excited. State of Origin is my Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I love State of Origin. Definitely the pinnacle on the Australia. I love all sports. Like I even follow AFL as well, which I get roasted for.
Even follow AFL.
Big Sydney. Thankfully, they give me something to cheer about. The Swans are flying at the moment, which is nice. But
actually, we saw each other at that Swans event.
We did.
Yeah.
We just love sport. So, I reckon Origin, though, is definitely the most exciting time on the Australian sport calendar.
It is up there.
I've never been to an Origin that hasn't been in Melbourne because I lived in Melbourne for quite a while.
Oh, wow.
So this will be my first one actually in Sydney or Brisbane. So
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Origin at Suncorp would be so intimidating as a Blue, but thankfully this first one's in New South Wales. So looking forward to it. Okay, speaking of Origin, now there's loads of questions that I have for you around this Origin squad and the content that you yourself have been doing, but I did want to call out the quality of the content that the New South Wales Blues are producing. And it's all at the hands of Bocco. Bocco is a videographer who looks after the Titans and he formerly was looking after the Eels. So he's just so experienced in the content game. And I feel like he was able to rebrand this New South Wales Blues side in a matter of 3 videos. But the content's just so good. So please check it out. Of course, the Queensland Maroon stuff is really good too. But I do think that the Blues are leading the series thus far in the content game. But I wanted to throw to you to talk about going into the Blues camp that day and shooting your own content, because that has to be some of the best work that you have produced, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was a real thrill. Like, very rarely do you get to kind of, and you'll know this from being with the Dolphins the other way, you don't get to talk to players that often. You get to talk about them a lot. But to actually sit in a room with them is a real thrill, and particularly when they're the cream of the crop, like the Origin players, the biggest stars in the game.
Yeah.
That was really exciting. And that was such great guy. I was really obviously excited to meet Jerome Luai, who's he's coming to the West Tigers to cement his status as an immortal. He's going to probably get the 4-peat at the Panthers, and then he's going to come to the Tigers, take us from last to first, and that'll be it.
Did you talk to him about the Tigers at all?
Yeah, we did a little bit. We actually asked them all a question: would you rather win 3 Origins in a row or a club premiership?
Yeah.
And obviously he's already won a lot of club premierships. So he's like, look, I've got enough of those, probably take the 3 Shields. And I said, as a West Tigers fan, that's a little bit disappointing to hear because you'll be joining us next year. And he just looked at me and goes, we ain't done, bro. So that's good. I'm looking forward to having him over there. The way he's been playing the last couple of weeks, especially like without Cleary and stuff.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get him on board. But they were all great. They all were happy to kind of take the piss out of themselves a little bit and give us a bit of time. So, that was a real thrill.
Were there any surprising moments, or just say you asked a question and you got a response that you did not expect?
Yeah, I think certainly Brian To'o and Stephen Crichton formed a bit of a combination there.
You could call it that.
Yeah, the winds of change sort of entered the room there, which was interesting. They've obviously been having their protein leading into the series, but I didn't expect that. And I think 2 farts made the cut, but I reckon 70% of the questions we asked, particularly Bizza, he was like up out of his chair trying to force him.
Oh my
There was one in
gosh.
particular I told him, I was like, be careful. And he goes, oh yeah, you're probably right, eh? And then he sat back down. That was pretty interesting, those two coming in there and just farting basically for 5 minutes.
I can't actually deal with that. I don't know how I would cope.
Yep.
In a situation like that. You just had to carry on.
You just had to kind of roll with it. But, it was a bit of a sign of things to come through camp, because it looks like Biz has kind of taken the ball and run with it with the farting in his own
absolutely.
content.
We saw his story over those couple of days following, and it looked like there was a bit of that back and forth, the winds of change, as you suggested. So we'll pop this up on the screen for people to watch.
Yep.
But, the character of Bizza...
Yeah.
You can't even question what he brings to the Panthers, what he brings to this Blues side. He's just so authentic, and I love how even when it comes down to the conferences, the press conferences, he will just talk so much smack.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, just when they were asking him about Cleary the other day, he's like, I think he's going to come off the bench or whatever. That's good. I think you need that kind of vibe, and I think probably I did notice it particularly from him, Steve Crichton and Luai, who obviously were kind of had that kind of cheeky vibe going at Penrith for so long. Yeah. Those are like what you see is what you get. They were really genuine and authentic in that setting too. So I think having them in the squad, particularly when it's so high pressure, must be really good for the rest of the team as well.
Definitely. Yeah. It's nice to see too with Critter moving to a different team, with Luai about to move to another team. It has not changed that dynamic whatsoever. And you can even see it. The Panthers have posted some content when To'o had his 100th game.
Yep.
There were videos from all these different players that had moved on from the Panthers as well, which I think is really, really cool. That dynamic is just unbeatable, and I think it says a lot about the success that the Panthers have had, but the fact that it's now seeped into the other squads and you can see that it hasn't changed anything is just unreal.
One guy who didn't look super relaxed was their other former teammate, Matt Burton, who was sort of the victim of some of the stuff in the video. He wasn't as fully on board probably as Crichton was, but I'm sure it'll come around.
Yeah, I like how the boys were partnered up in the content too. It definitely makes it easier for you as an interviewer, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right. We kind of had a bit of a wish list of like if we can get these guys paired, but it kind of we just kind of latched onto their media day, so it almost became a bit of like what you got given was just what you got. But I think we were lucky to get those two paired together. I think they helped each other relax.
How was Burton? Because he's I feel like he probably after his Let's Trot experience and talking about flat Earth, he might be scared to speak up a bit.
Yeah, I forgot about. If I had have remembered that, I probably would have thrown him a little question about that. But he was fine. He was funny. It was interesting because I think he's going to play on Wednesday.
Yeah,
and that was like our line of questioning was like, blink if you're playing, and he refused to. I don't think
that was gold.
I still think he hasn't blinked since then. So he was, I think, just because of where we were going with the questions, he was kind of just trying to deflect a little bit. Yeah. But, he was with Cleary and Cleary was just laughing at him.
Yeah, so. And Cleary has been through a bit of this type of stuff before, I'm sure.
Yep.
But
he knew exactly what was coming too. Just like, asking him a lot of Queensland questions, who are you going for and all that sort of stuff.
Born in Ipswich. Explain yourself.
Yeah, he really showed his working. He was really keen to demonstrate that he was a blue, but jury's still out, I think.
No, that was really, really funny. I absolutely love that content. Like I said, it's some of the best I've seen. And my final question on that is that it was pretty ballsy to ask Lomax about the whole winger positioning and all that jazz. How did you go about asking him that? And was there any hesitation from him?
I had a bit of a short list of questions the day before and I kind of bounced them off Matty and Guru.
Yeah.
And when that one came up, we was like, I'd be careful. I was like, what's he going to do? Like, he was fine. He was paired up with Robson, who he was pretty like business, like gave us some pretty straight bad answers and stuff, but impressive guy. But
love that, just business.
He wasn't paired up with someone who was like laughing at the fact we were roasting him, so it was a little bit harder, but he played ball and he got around it a little bit. So, and he's been playing great footy on the wing anyway, so I reckon he'll do a good job on Wednesday.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Lomax play with the Blues. I think what is exciting about this squad is that there are so many debuts, so many new players. The dynamic's going to be different to what we've seen previously. And I think also what's quite ironic almost is that people complain.
Yep.
We need to change something. They make relatively drastic changes, i.e., Teddy not even being called up initially. Yep. That has since changed, of course.
Yep.
But we complain when it's also really different.
Yep.
But this is the only way that we're going to potentially see different results to what we've seen previously.
That's right. And I thought when they got appointed a new coach with Madge, it's like they're going to make some big changes. And I wasn't surprised they made the call probably to move on from Teddy, even though he's been really, particularly his last month, has been probably the best footy he's played in like 2 years. So it's all really set up. I'm a Queensland fan, obviously, but it is set up beautifully for Teddy now, isn't it? To like have his sort of Joey moment or cement a bit of a legacy there. If he plays well in the first game,
you got to feel for Dill though.
Oh, you do. Because he's been just like working away for 5-6 years, being so consistent. And he's got a bit of a rep for like being that guy who's always consistent, never gets injured, and then the poor guy gets injured in training, like doing extras of all things, the thing that's made him so good. No. I do feel for him, but I'm sure he's going to have a good career in Origin as well.
No, so do I. I think it's not like it'll be his only opportunity.
Yeah.
He's definitely got more things coming.
Yep.
Now, speaking of just people working overtime, there's this hilarious post from Buzz Rothfield that was posted on X of he's been receiving calls right when NRL 360 starts recording from a no caller ID, and you can see the relentless amount of calls that he's receiving from said person. Yep. I see this as probably one of the most iconic things you could be doing as an annoying fan of the game. Firstly, someone's obviously got his number.
Yep.
Secondly, there's 100% an agenda here.
Yep.
But Hammy, I want to know what you think this agenda is. Like, what is going on with this?
Well, I've been lucky enough to work with Buzz in some little comedy skits, which has been really eye-opening over the last couple of years, seeing a completely different side to him, very relaxed, happy to take the piss out of himself. I think he plays a bit of a character, to not be liked, and someone's got to play that role in the media. But there are a lot of people, you're right, who he's got a bit of beef with. And when we were shooting this one the other day, he was getting stuck into me about being a Tigers fan. He's like, Hammy, mate, the Tigers are stuffed. You got the worst attack in the comp. You got no sponsors. Richo won't return my phone calls. So I reckon it's Shane Richardson, the CEO of the West Tigers, is trolling Buzz by calling him when the show's on. Because he said he won't return his calls, but I reckon this is Richo trolling Buzz and returning his calls finally, but probably just when he doesn't want them returned. That's my theory.
I mean, that is a damn good theory.
Yeah.
I don't think I could think of anything as, I guess, could be true as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
Yeah. Who do you reckon's been calling him? I mean, he's got a lot of beef with a lot of. So
that's the thing.
It could be
right?
anybody.
The issue for me is when you've got beef with so many different people.
Yeah.
For all you know, the no caller IDs are all different people that are in a group chat that's just against you, and they all said, "Okay, I'm calling." Then you call. Then you call. Then you call.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever had something like this happen?
No, I haven't. Nah, I haven't been. I suppose I haven't had like a live show like that as well, where people are like, all right, he's on now. Let's call him and do. I remember when we were at school and stuff, and someone get up to a speech at assembly, like everyone would call them, and
really?
You do a bit of that. But no, I haven't had this before. But I don't know. I'm not sure that Buzz's strategy to manage this one is the right one. I think by putting it out there, he's going to invite more people to.
He's inciting more calls.
Yeah, he is
essentially.
Yep.
I think Buzz wants this.
Yep.
Yeah. Buzz is like game on.
Yep.
And I'm going to call you out at some stage.
If I was Buzz, I would take one of the calls on air and out the person to see who it is.
I think that needs to happen now.
Yep.
Buzz, if you're watching, I know Buzz does
watching.
like to watch this.
Yep.
Yeah.
He actually he keeps his eye out on social media and stuff like that. You probably, if you put a few clips up on X, that's his preferred platform.
Okay.
So.
That's probably where I'm going wrong.
Yep.
I've said this on the Kat-Chup before, don't like X.
Yep.
I have really bad experiences on X.
Yeah, I think X is feels like one of the most negative of the platforms. You get a lot of sort of direct feedback or like haters on there.
So many haters.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a boomery probably platform.
Yeah, coming from now entering the rugby league space has been amazing.
Yep.
People are so nice. The community is far warmer than other sports that I've worked in, and I'm interested to know if you feel the same with the cricket world versus rugby league. Although I don't know how many haters there are in the cricket world, but in the football world, the soccer world, oh my, many, many haters. More haters than lovers, you could say.
Yep.
And X was like the place that they would just come to tell me how they feel about me being female and talking about the sport. So I very quickly shown myself the door from that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have kind of shown themselves the door for that sort of reason. It just feels a bit like that. And soccer, is it soccer Twitter?
Yeah, soccer Twitter,
It's got that,
it's weird to have someone in the chair that actually knows that stuff.
Well, it's just got its rep, hasn't it, for being a lot of very angry football fans on there.
Loud. They call it the very loud minority.
Yep.
Which we'll call. And speaking of soccer, this is a perfect transition because the Matildas played last night. It was a friendly against.
What a win.
Yeah, I know. A friendly against China PR. They played the first game in Adelaide on Friday.
Yep, draw.
We got a last minute equaliser. Sorry. Wow. Do I know a last minute goal? And then last night's one they won.
Yep. What was it? It was like 2 or 3-0 in the end, wasn't it? I think after the second goal.
I think it was 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I fell asleep really
Yeah, that was the same as me.
I was supposed to go to the game, but I have a child in dog form who said, no, you're not going to the game tonight. So I didn't go. But I wanted to talk about the fact our favourite couple in sports in Australia, if not the world, is Nathan Cleary and Mary Fowler. And there was a video that I saw last night going to sleep that had like 200 likes on it. And it was Nathan Cleary spotted in the stands watching Mary, and you can see Mary pitch side, like kind of looking for him, spots him, waves, and then they pan to Nathan with his mum. And the whole New South Wales Blues side were at the game, but it looked like they were in corporate seats a bit further up. And people commenting, where's Cleary? Where's Cleary? And they were like, no, he was at the game, just in different seats.
In some probably significantly better seats.
Friends and family, you know? So I then woke up, checked that video again, and it was on like 100,000 something. I just think when it's Nathan Cleary and Mary Fowler, it's a guaranteed social media hit. But what I love even more than this is that we have this beautiful Australian sporting couple in Australia that is bringing these two codes together. I've said it many a time and I'll say it again. It's my two sports married, essentially, and I hope that this lives on forever. But it is hilarious to see that there's just people like that who, as soon as they're in a social media video, it just flies.
They're like maybe not the best example, but like Posh and Bex. Like, they're our two biggest like names, Good to see them together.
It's also that idea of two worlds colliding.
Yep.
With those two.
Exactly. And it's just such a nice love story. It gives everyone else hope out there, if they can make it work living on different sides of the world like this for, what's it been now? It's been about 9 months, I'd say, or maybe even a little bit longer.
Yeah, so it's quite funny. I believe that they would have met during the Women's World Cup. Now, whether or not that's true, there could have been some talking before, but they weren't spotted having ice cream until just after.
Yeah, that's right. It was like a sponsor event, wasn't it, or something like that?
Because they're both Adidas sponsored athletes.
Yep.
So a lot of people thought like this is a great PR stunt to have them out together in, walking around a lake in Penrith, like hand in hand with ice cream, like in their Adidas get up. Yep. Very smart PR if true. But it became more than that. It's never just ice cream happening.
I was going to say it's been a very elaborate PR stunt. It's been going for 12 months now and, spanned continents and all sorts of stuff. But
no, they're so cute.
They are.
I met Nathan Cleary in, I think, November last year. Or no, early December last year when I was working on another show. He was interviewed. And then we all went for lunch after.
Ice cream?
Lebanese food. And having worked at the Women's World Cup, I've interviewed Mary Fowler a couple of times. I feel like we're friends.
Yep.
That means we're friends, right, Hammy?
I think so.
Because if you've interviewed the whole Blues side, you're essentially
we're
friends.
We're all mates now. Not on Wednesday night, but apart from that, we're
still waiting to be added to the group chat.
Yep.
I'm still waiting to be added to the Matildas group chat. Just waited 9 months. But I kept trying to drop that I'd met Mary or that I'd, spent time with the Matildas just to see if I could suss him out at all, because this was before it was public. It was all very much speculation at this stage. And even when he came in that morning, the football had been on the night before, and I was like, oh, who do you support in the football? And he's like, oh, Manchester United. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit difficult, isn't it? Because she plays for Manchester City.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, it makes life a bit hard. And I was like,
there you go.
Interesting
you got the scoop.
Man. I know. But
pun very much intended.
But I don't do anything with the information, of course. Anyway, but it was very fun kind of trying to figure out how legit it was and whatnot. But I love that we're at the point now where it's super public and they're just having a grand old time.
Yeah.
In each other's presence. And I also think it's funny that Cleary is always injured every time the Matildas play.
I know. I've noticed that as well. Did he go to Adelaide the other day?
I don't know if he went to Adelaide.
Yep.
I feel like if he was spotted in Adelaide when he's injured, should have been in Blues camp, like all these things, it gets a little complicated.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably worked out pretty well that they were able to catch up this time around for this game. Because I remember at the start of the year, I felt a bit bad for him because he went over to play the World Club Challenge, but I think she was playing for the Matildas somewhere else. Yes. So like he was in Manchester or whatever and they'd missed each other. So
yeah, and he was literally training at the Manchester City grounds.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer for them.
She wasn't there.
Yeah.
But then he flew to Perth for that game.
That's right.
How do I know all this?
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like this transitions really well into my love life.
Yep.
Because I posted a video during Magic Round. I just jumped on a trend.
Yep.
And I did this video, which I'll pop up here. And you've already watched it.
What's the update? How did it go?
Well, that's the thing. People wanted an update on my dating life. First of all, to the comments saying, or the people who have commented saying that I would have no luck in that jersey. They were probably right. But there's no progress, unfortunately, on that front. But I'm hoping they said all good love stories start at the Caxton, so maybe next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
How good is the Caxton? Absolutely.
That was so much fun.
That was your first Magic Round?
First Magic Round.
First
rugby league experience in Queensland. Yep. I've done like football, soccer games, but I've never been there for rugby league. And I love Suncorp.
Yeah, it's the best, and it should never move from there either because you can just go from the Caxton or any of those pubs there. If you don't want to watch a game, you can just go out there, chill out, go back in. Like it's so close. Everyone's so happy, all wearing their team colours and stuff. It's just like that's the best weekend of the year, I reckon.
I think if it was to move from Brisbane, it would be an absolute travesty.
Yep.
It belongs there. It belongs there. And I also think when you look at other cities. Melbourne obviously is really good for sport, but you don't have a rugby league event like that down there.
No.
I'm sorry. It just wouldn't make sense. And I don't think we have the infrastructure for it here. I don't think our city could cope if we had that much going on, whereas somehow you can have that many people in Suncorp and that many people on Caxton Street, but it's still, traffic still flows.
Yep.
And you still don't have to wait an hour for an Uber, which after any major event at a core, I can tell you right now, you are waiting a decent amount of time if you want to get an Uber or you're like sardines on the train.
Yeah, I think I went out there last year for the Matildas like semi-final and we got home at like 1:30 a.m. It was carnage getting back from there. You wouldn't be able to do it. If they did do it in Sydney, you'd probably have to do it in, they'd probably do it at Combank, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon Allianz would be pretty good because you got Paddington, Oxford
that
Street
could
stuff
work.
there. You got all the pubs and stuff there, but
even I just don't know if Parramatta could cope with that much congestion either. There's just something. So they've just done something right in Milton.
And there's no pubs. Or you got the Parramatta Leagues Club, but there's no pubs right next to it where people could just kick on until
you'd have to almost create like a market or something in like Parramatta Park and do things for the thoroughfare. It'd just be, look, I think the point is.
Yeah, leave it in Brisbane.
Leave it in Brisbane because see how complicated it is? We could sit here for days and brainstorm for them.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Now, before we wrap today, Hammy, there was a question from Guru.
Yep.
He said,
uh-oh.
Tell us about the 3 p.m. cookie yesterday on Bloke.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to Meat Emporium. We love their work.
We do.
Yeah, they do a great steak sandwich, and we kind of change between South Dowling sandwiches and Meat Emporium for our lunch options after Bloke.
You're living a good life. If I know, you're switching between those
it's pretty
two.
well. This is when the podcast finishes before 3, which sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes we miss out, but if we can, we mix it up. And I went down there. We had a steak sandwich. I was looking at these amazing cookies they had there. They had like a cookies and cream one, a s'mores one, which is like it's like a chocolate one. It had like marshmallow and other stuff in it, and like it had salt over the top of it. And I was like, that looks so good.
Oh, yum.
But we just got the sandwiches, went back, and it didn't even hit the sides. And I said to the boys, I think I'm going to go back over and get one of the cookies. And they all kind of like laughed at me. And Ruru goes, look, I don't want to piss on your bonfire here, but I'm pretty sure it shuts at 3. I was like, no, it doesn't matter. He goes, no, it's open at 7. We go all the time. So I walked all the way back over there. And
which it's actually a decent walk.
Yeah,
for
it's
you
like
from
it's
there.
not just around the corner.
You're
probably talking 700-800 meters. So
decent
10-minute walk, whatever. Got there and they're counting the till. I was like, I couldn't just buy a cookie, could I? And I said, sorry. So
you think you couldn't even give them like $3, like however many coins was needed, or
it was $6.90, I think. I'll be back next week. Don't worry about that because I haven't stopped thinking about it. But unfortunately, I missed out yesterday. But thanks for bringing that up, Rue. I thought, sort of just got over it. But
do you know what? Well, here at the Kat-Chup, we finish shows nice and early.
Perfect.
We don't make you wait till 3:05.
Yep.
So you do have plenty of time to get one of those cookies on your way out.
Yep.
Because we're not too far from there. But I am a big cookie fiend, so that's on. It's on the. Now I'm thinking about it now. I might have to go suss them out.
My apologies, but I think I don't think you'll be disappointed. They're great.
What would be your go-to flavour?
Well, I think that one, the s'mores, traditionally.
Are they sandwiched or does it have like the stuff going on top?
On top, like baked into it. S'mores usually for me, there's probably a bit too much going on, but I think for where my head was at yesterday, I was on board with that one. Snickerdoodle is a new kind of flavour of cookie I've recently been introduced to, and they had that option there as well. But I can get that from the coffee shop across the road from my place. So I thought I'd probably try the s'mores one.
Yeah,
would be my call for Meat Emporium.
Yum.
Yeah. But get down there and try a steak sandwich. They're very good.
So I went with Guru a couple of weeks ago and I opted for a prosciutto panini, which he just thought was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like, why would we go all this way? I'm getting a steak sandwich and you're not going to get a steak sandwich as well. He took it really personally.
Well, you can order whatever you like, of course, Kat, but I will say if you haven't had the steak sandwich, you've got to go and fix that.
Okay.
It's very good.
So I'm going to go order a steak sandwich and I'd get the snickerdoodle.
Yep. Yeah.
What
is it now?
Good.
It's only 11 o'clock.
We're fine.
I'm probably going to spend 3 or 4 hours in the Greg Chappell cricket shop on the way out, so I might actually miss out today as well, but we'll see how I go.
Yeah, the good old Greg Chappell cricket shop. I've spent all of no time in there.
Not a big cricket fan?
I don't dislike cricket. It's not that I'm not a fan. I just feel like it's hard to get around.
Yep.
in the same capacity that I do league and
You've
soccer.
got to, it gets to a point when you're following sports, you've got to just make a call. You're like, this is the amount of sports I can follow in this level of detail.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to dedicate that amount of time to other stuff. So I feel the pain there, but love my cricket.
No, like one of my friends plays professional cricket, and I see how exciting it can be on that side of things. Like he's gone over to the UK in the off season to go spend some time playing over there. Like it looks really fun.
Yep.
And I keep up with it to that extent, but I do like the Ashes. I feel like it's a sound of summer when you have the Ashes on.
Yep.
But yeah, just definitely casual when it comes to cricket.
Well, we've got India this year, so that'll be a good summer. And you're a bit of a women's sport guru, and the women's game is flying.
Oh, so. I mean, and this is the one thing I've often said with cricket is that it's one of those sports where there's no discrepancy between the men's and the women's game. People can see and accept just how talented the female cricketers are. And I think it was one of the first sports to really show that women know what they're doing. To be taken seriously on that level.
Exactly. And they play at some really cool grounds. They play a lot of like North Sydney and stuff like that. So love getting around.
Super cool. All right. Well, I promise to get a little bit more into cricket so that next time you're on here we can actually talk a bit about it. But Hammy, thank you so much for joining us on the Catch-Up.
No, thank you for having me. A big fan of the show, so it's great to finally be on an episode, and I'm sure we'll do a couple more down the track as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, if there's any fun social media clips that pop up over the week and you want myself or Guru or our next guest to react to, please be sure to send them in. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.